All right, welcome, high levelers. Today we're going over our first Workflow Wednesday. We're going into a series of Workflow Wednesdays where we build out workflows that are important to our businesses, workflows that are important to our customers, our clients. So if you're an agency owner or just someone who uses high level for your business, what we're going to go through today should be of help to you. So here's what I'm thinking about. Creating today. So one of the things, let me clear out some of this stuff off my screen, some things that I don't need. Perfect. So one of the things that I want to do is some outreach. I'd like to be able to go in and do some outreach to some particular customers that I'm finding or potential prospects that I'm finding out there in the market to promote a particular service that I want to offer to them, right? So one of the things that we're going to do in order to accomplish this is we want to be able to automate the process by which we engage with our customers in this case, right? Or not our prospects in this case. So what I'll do is just kind of break it down first, kind of map it out in regards to what is it that we are trying to accomplish? What is this thing going to look like? And you can do this if you wanted to kind of wireframe it. You can do that directly here on some sort of whiteboard or something like that, where you can kind of just map out what it is that you are trying to accomplish. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to lay out some things that we want to, we would like to work with, right? So of course we're working with workflows, and with all workflows, there's going to be a trigger. Now, the trigger in this case can be anything. It can be adding a tag to a contact. In most cases, add tags work really well when it comes to automating things. As soon as somebody's hit with a tag, that brings them into the workflow, and the workflow gets to process the rest of this, right? But if you stay to the end of the video, I'm going to show you a pretty cool way to trigger this, where we're going to implement n8n, which is a automation builder similar to Zapier, but it's like a plug and play builder that we can build a super powered workflow where we are able to add some things to a Google Sheet. That Google Sheet then is scraped by the n8n, sent takes that information, sends it over to GHL, creates a contact out of it, et cetera, et cetera. So what we're going to do here is just basically build out the flow, what it is that we're trying to get across. So I have an offer that I want to sell to business owners, and this offer is for a service that helps them to identify the visitors on their website. So if someone visits their website, they can uncover that person's name, phone number, and email. If that person exists inside of our database of over 200 plus million Americans, we have a database on their internet activity and interactions, and we can pretty much track their user IDs and IP addresses back to their identities. So when someone visits a website and we have information on them, we can show that that person has visited that website, as well as show how long that person was on the website, what links they clicked on, what they may have searched for, whatever activity they performed on that website. We can also see that as well as we track them across those pages. So all we really want to do is really just kind of promote what it is that we are doing, right? So the first thing is, as I'm bringing people into the workflow, first things first, I want to be able to bring them in a drip. Okay, so we're going to drip people into the workflow. So no matter how many people I add to the workflow, it's only going to drip a certain amount. Let's say maybe 30 at a time. All right, somewhere around there, which means that it's going to take in, if I add 100 contacts, it's going to take in just 30 of them at a time and bring them through the rest of the flow. And then what I like to do is I want to do a weekday check on this. I don't want my emails to just be going out at any old time of the week. So I want to make sure that they're going out during business hours. Okay. That's going to be extremely important to make sure that we're staying compliant with our business efforts, especially when we're emailing or contacting people who are unfamiliar with us. And again, an email can go out at any particular time. Again, 24 hours a day, people will receive emails, right? But of course, we want to hit them during the time where it's likely that they're going to see the email. So sometime during regular business hours, I would think would make sense. All right. So once we have that in place, then the next thing that we would like to do is go in and have them receive an email. It'd be email number 1, somewhere around here. Let's get this to catch up to me. So email number 1, this is pretty much the intro to the offer, which will be customized, right? Or personalized. So we'll run a personalized email. So we'll use certain features from the information that we're gathering from that prospect and then put it into the email. So for instance, their business name, the industry that they may be in, or any other piece of information that we may have for that business. Okay. All right. So we'll send out that first one. And then what we'll do from there is that we'll go ahead and do a message counter, which will include adding a number to a field which says, hey, this person has been sent a message. And every time they're sent a message, we want to let our system know that how many messages we sent them, right? Which is important when it comes to tracking, seeing how many messages it takes for somebody to actually respond. So you can track across the board how many messages we need to send inside of these campaigns in order for them to be successful. So it helps us to keep track of things. Tracking in direct response marketing or in marketing period is extremely useful, and it makes us responsible marketers, right? So I'm right on responsible marketing, which we'll go into a high level. So as a responsible marketer, we definitely want to be tracking the activity and what our marketing efforts are producing. So we're going to put in a message counter so that we can, so that we know exactly who it is that's visiting, and excuse me, we know exactly how many times we're sending this person this message or whatever the case is. We're keeping track of all that stuff, right? So the next thing that we want to do from here is that we want to kind of just wait for a response, right? Just wait to see how, if they responded to us. So actually, we're going to see, instead of waiting for a response, let's wait for an open first. Okay, wait for email open. All right. Now, once an email is either opened or not, so this would be for the open side, and this would be for um, the unopened side. Okay. So if they opened, we have a different path that they go through, and if they did not open, we have another path that they will go through as well. So now that we have the open or not open, um, for the open ones, we're going to add a tag that they opened the email. Okay, so let's do add opened email tag. And for those who did not open, what we will do is we will go in and add a where am I? Oops, sorry. I am actually drawing stuff that I don't need to be drawing. Let's get that out of there. Okay. All right. So now that we have our opened, and we have the add open email tag, and we have the did not open email. So let's continue going down the open, and then we'll deal with the did not open. Right. So now that we have the open tag, then we want to check to see if they replied. Right. So let's be a response check. So this is going to help us to kind of, again, keep track of what's going on and how things are moving through the process. All right. So with that response check, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to see then if that was a positive response, negative response. Did they respond? Did they not respond? Right. So let's go through here. This would be the respond. This would be did not respond. All right. So responded. Okay. And no response. Okay. So if we get a response, then there's a certain email that we would like to send to them. All right. So do you have responded or did not respond? If they responded, what we would want to do is tag them with a so responded tag. All right. And no response, we'll just leave that alone and we'll go through the rest of what that entails. So then let's say here for the responded tag, then we want to check to see what the sentiment was, right? So response sentiment. And the response sentiment is us going in and taking a look at was it a positive or was it a negative response? All right. So if we are looking at our response sentiment, we have a positive here, and then we'll have a negative here. So let's say positive, negative, and of course, there's always going to be this is just using the high level system to decide whether or not the intent was from that person or the sentiment was from that person, right? So if we have a positive response, then what we'll do on a positive side is we'll take in. So let's do positive response tag. I tag everything just so I could keep track of everything that's happening, right? And of course, if there's a positive response tag, there's also going to be a negative response tag. All right. And then for the positive response tag, what we'll do is we'll send over a internal notification to alert admin or staff or whatever, all right, to alert staff. And then same thing, we pretty much would run an internal notification for the negative response as well. And then from there, what we'll then do is we will run for the internal, for the person who positively responded, we will have a follow-up email sent to them. All right. And then the, let's see. Okay, then from there, okay, so we got that. We'll send out an email, follow-up email. So we've tagged them that they've responded. We've tagged them that there was a positive response, and then we have that stuff there. So we're good to go there. So then from here, let's see if we, let's see if I can do some kind of drawing. I want to be able to draw, not highlight, not align. Yeah, definitely not laser. All right, let me find out which one of these. Okay, draw right there. All right. So then what we're going to do is we're going to notify. So we'll notify the staff, but then I'm still going to send them here to receive a follow-up email anyway. Okay. So the reason why I'm doing this is to see, what the positive response people, how they're responding to my follow-up email, how the negative responding people are responding to my follow-up email. It's all going to be the same to me. I really could care less about that, right? Again, if you say, "Hey, don't email me anymore," as if you say stop, then it'll just stop. You won't be receiving any emails from me at all. And if you say, "Why the hell do I need this crap?" That's not positive, right? But you'll get an email saying, "Hey, let's set up an appointment. I can show you exactly why you need this thing." It's pretty much the same response that this person would have gotten in the first place, right? The positive response person would have got, "Hey, thanks for responding. We'd love to show you how this works. If you hop on a 15-minute meeting, whatever the email is that your use case requires." In this case, that's what mine requires. Okay. All right. So we've got that no response. So for those who do no response or did not open, there's another path that we would send them down. Okay. So for those who did not respond, what we would then do is we would have we'll do a follow-up counter here. So let me move this out of my way. Okay. So here we'll do a follow-up counter, which would add another +1 to that person's follow-up counter. So now we have how many times they've been sent the message, but also how many times have they been followed up with, right? So this is like the follow-up. Now, may not be necessary for you, but again, this is just me with my OCD, just trying to track everything and make sure I tag people according to every little action that they take or make in my workflow. So we'll do that, and then we'll send out cold email number 2. Okay. And then what we would do is we would then send these people. So let's minimize this a little bit so we can kind of go out a little bit. All right. So let's say the cold email number 2, then we would do a wait for email open stuff again, right? So we'll pretty much run, let's say we would have to do this separately. So we'll have to do a wait for email. Actually, let me do this instead. I can take this here and pretty much bring this down the same sequence to look for opened. If they open, the same, pretty much the same thing, right? So let's take all of this here. Oops. Sorry. I'm doing a little too much. That's not what I was trying to do. Let's go ahead and just duplicate that. And then we'll pull this down here. All right. So again, second email sent. Now we're checking to see if if they opened. If they did open, we're checking to see if they responded. If they did, then we'll send them pretty much this same email right here. And of course, the same goes for those who negatively responded. They'll also get sent over here as well. Okay. All right. So we've got that in place. And sorry, guys, I got some guys working on my yard outside. So I thought somebody was knocking on the window just now. All right. So here we go. So now we have that flow going on. So this kind of repeats itself over and over from here on out. If they do not respond, or let's say they do not open. So let's wait for open, did not open. So let's put that part up under here as well. So did not open. Oops, not that. Sorry. Boom, like that. Did not open, follow up, and then we'll do cold email number 3. So let's go ahead and go do this. This comes on the do not open, guys. This no response pretty much stays up under these guys here. And then we'll run cold email number 3 from here, and it pretty much will repeat itself over and over. So this is the flow that we would use, and we can implement a couple of other things in here. For instance, if we wanted to have these emails, so instead of having this repeat itself constantly, what we can do is, so like the upgraded version of this would be to have a GPT come in here and create the second email, and then bring them back in. If they don't open or don't respond, bring them right back in again and create a third email, different email, different subject line, etc. Right. So that's kind of the flow of this here. It looks like quite a bit, but once it's built out and it is set to go, it is pretty much a straightforward type of thing. And in fact, I would probably implement more of the AI to create the messages. But if you just had like a 3-message sequence or a 4-message sequence, this probably works really well for you. So let's now go in and build this out. All right. So actually, you know what? Real quick before we do that, so on this side over here, so all the way on the whole other side of this here, let's go and pull up different colors. So for certain things to come into this, what we can do is we would run a workflow that does this. So we would have a Google spreadsheet that we add prospects to. And you can add them daily. All right. And then from there, the workflow will take those and create contacts in GHL. And then also it will tag contact to start workflow. And this pretty much will then shoot back here and trigger this workflow. And all of this stuff here is all going to be n8n. All right. And then this right here is the GHL workflow. Okay. So now let's go in and build this stuff. Okay. Let's get it.
All right, hello, high levelers. So in this video, this is the second part to the first video that we did for building out a workflow that is going to be like a cold email outreach sequence, but done on autopilot. Um, so what we've done, just to remind you a little bit of where we are with this. So far, what we were looking at was building out a workflow that allowed for us to cold email prospects. We were running these cold emails to um, do some of this real quick. All right, so yeah, we're triggering the flow by tagging people. These tags we can run an n8n workflow to have a Google spreadsheet. We can add prospects to it daily. It scrapes those prospects from that sheet, creates the contact in GHL and tags them, so it'll trigger the workflow. Puts them in the workflow, drip at 30 at a time, so on and so forth. Sends out the email, waits to see if it's opened. If it's not opened, it should revert them back to segment second email, and so on and so forth, right? If they do open it, then it's checking to see if they responded. If they don't respond, then they go back into a second and third and fourth email sequence as well. We can manually build out these sequences, the third and the fourth sequence. But what if you wanted to do a 20 email sequence or 30 email sequence, right? Or a buy or die sequence, which means it doesn't stop until they tell you to leave them alone, or um, they're dead and they can't respond to you, right? Or they become a customer and they get out of that particular workflow. So this workflow can go on and on and on. But in order to keep things simple, what we're going to do is we're going to implement AI into this, allowing for us to generate the subject, generate the body, so that we can just loop it back into the generation of the subject and the body, personalizing and customizing each and every message to each and every prospect that we're sending this out to. So this is going to be a pretty well-rounded, useful for many different businesses, including your own, if your agency, or any of your clients who are in need of keeping a follow-up sequence in front of their prospects and leads, which I would believe is every business, right? Because we know that the fortune, as they say, is in the follow-up. So this is what we're going to be building out inside of GoHighLevel today. So here we have our workflow setup. So you go to your automations, then start a workflow from scratch, and it'll bring you here. So most recently, HighLevel has released this feature to allow for you to build out a workflow simply by prompting AI and telling it what it is that you would like for it to do. So I've already pre-written a little bit about what we just discussed. So let me go ahead and paste that in here, and I'll just read it out so we know what it is that we're trying to accomplish here. So in this message, we're triggering by a tag. We drip 30 contacts every hour. And again, this is all what's inside of the wireframe that we built out on the whiteboard. We check to see if we are in a weekday during the hours of 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. Then we have Chat GPT generate a subject line, and we have another Chat GPT create an email body for personalized emails. We combine the subject and body into an email. Then we wait for the prospect to open the email. If they don't open the email in 2 days, we send them another customized email. If they do open, we then check to see if they've responded. If they don't respond in 2 days, then we send them another customized email. That's kind of what it's going to, right? Then we send them another email if they didn't respond to. We check if they did respond. We check the sentiment. If positive, we send them another email. If negative, we send them another email. Right. So again, I'm going to fill in what those emails are on my own. I'm just saying here's the steps. So just a general overview of what the steps are going to be. So we'll just start here. Let's go ahead and just let this run and let's see what it decides to come up with. Not decide, but what it actually comes up with for us. So let's take a look. We're going to let this run, and it might take a little while. So give it a couple of minutes. But they are telling you a little bit about as you go through this. Don't just walk away. You might learn something. Build a workflow that adds a customer tag to contact after they make a purchase instead of just tag my customers. Right? It's just different things that you can do. So you want to be very specific and clear in your instructions. The more clear you are, the better it will be able to figure out what it is that you really want, so that it can provide that for you. So we'll just wait for this to finish generating, and then we'll return once it's done. All right, so let's take a look and see what was built. All right, so here we are. Took in my prompt, came back and says, here's what I built. Got the trigger in there, so on and so forth. So what we need to do is we need to go ahead and fill this out. All right, so let's see. This is pretty interesting. Okay, I don't think this is what I was looking for. What's that? Right, that's definitely not what I was looking for. All right, so we'll we'll definitely see what this is all about. But this looks to be correct. All right, so here we go. First things first, you have a trigger tag, right? So this trigger tag is what starts this whole thing off. So in this case, what we'll do is we'll set a trigger for, let's say, cold email outreach, something like that. All right. And that'll be our trigger. So let's say contact specific tag added. So let's say cold cold email outreach. Oops, sorry. Tag added. All right. Of course, you can title it as you see fit. So this right here is saying proceed with contact drip release 30 contacts per hour. WhatsApp customer service window check. This is interesting. You do not have a WhatsApp. Yeah, because I'm not even using this. When a WhatsApp user sends you a message, a 24-hour customer service window is open. You can send unlimited free form messages to the user. That's pretty interesting, but that's not what I'm looking for. So here's what I would have to do. Instead of that, what we're really doing is we are taking a simple drip. So we're going to add a node here, and it's going to be a drip node, like such. All right. So let's say you want to do 30 people per hour or something like that, for 1 hour, somewhere around there. All right, so let's do drip mode 30. You could say drip 30 per hour. All right, so we've got that in there. And now what we're going to do is the check. We have to check to see if we are during the business hours. So we're going to put in a wait, and the wait is uh, it's not only for waiting a specific amount of time, it's also waiting for a certain window of time as well. So what we're looking for is wait for week, day, hours, and the time delay is 0 minutes. We're not doing any specific time. What we're looking for is a specific during time frame, time period window. So what we're looking for here is 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. just like that. Monday through Saturday. Sunday, if you want, go ahead, feel free. Be compliant, of course. But for the most part, we want people to see our emails during times that they're actually checking emails. They may not want to check stuff on the weekends. Saturday, maybe they're sitting around a baseball game, checking email real quick, right? So cool, we got that. Let's go ahead and save that. Perfect. Okay, so from here, what we want to do is we want to look now this part right here, right? This is pretty much what this was doing. We're not going to run a tag on this yet. So one of the things that we did was we just wanted to run the weekday check and then start working on developing out the emails. Okay, so we need a subject line email built out and a body email built out as well. So what we would do then in this case, instead of all of this stuff, I'm just going to bypass all of this by taking this one here, and we're going to do a move. I'm going to do move all of the actions from that point, and I'm going to move them to here. All right, and all of the other stuff that was in here, such as this stuff here, would be taken out. I don't need any of this WhatsApp stuff that we have here, so I can delete this entire action, take it all out. It'll take out the rest of the branches that are down below it as well. All right, so let's go back up to the top. So again, we haven't really even checked to see what any of this was about yet, but we're going to get there eventually. All right. So the first thing is now that we have our time frame that we're going to run these emails out, we want to generate a subject line. So the subject line GPT, you can run GPT 4.0, you can run 5 mini, 5 nano. There's cost to all of this. So you don't want your each email to be so expensive. Let's say you're sending out one email, it costs you 0.00065 or a little bit higher than that maybe cents. But when you start to add in the use of GPT, there is a cost to it, right? So you have to be aware that there's a charge for each of these executions. So still though might also still be competitive to you spending whatever you spend per month. with GPT if you are running, some other automation and paying those folks, monthly, whatever for it. So same thing here. You just pay for the usage of the token. And in fact, High Level most recently mentioned to us that their cost to OpenAI is going to be cheaper than what we can get from OpenAI directly, simply because they're obviously buying in bulk ultimately, right? So this is what you would be running. You run a custom action type. You can enable chat history, which means that for if you are going to continue to use this same node to bring in the people who have already been sent an email, you can use the chat history from this particular step prior, right? So it says you can use so chat history for this workflow. Remember, all conversations with ChatGPT actions within this workflow. Remember, conversations only within a certain execution of a workflow starts fresh on re-entry. Remember, conversations only within this action across multiple executions. So what you would really want to do if you wanted to remember the entire conversation, you look at the entire workflow. So it'll continue to, obviously people are not going to leave this workflow unless they get the final email. So if they haven't opened or haven't responded, they're being looped back to this, which is going to look at, they're going to stay inside of the workflow, which is going to look at the history that they've had in this particular work. So then in the prompt, you want to generate a unique and personalized email subject line for the following contact. Tailor the subject line to reflect the contact's interests, recent interactions, or any distinguishing details to maximize engagement and relevance. Well, there's another little prompt that I have created for this to kind of give you a little bit more of an idea of what you can put in here. Now, you can put in whatever you would like. It's really up to you. But this is what I have used in the past to allow for me to leverage the custom fields that I'm receiving as well as my offer that I'm going for, right? So this is what the prompt looks like. You help me come up with the perfect subject line for an email being sent to the first and last name of that contact who works at this business in this city and in this state. Here's what they do as a business. Here's their website information. I'm writing them an email about an offer to do this particular service for them. You are a subject line generator for cold emails. And this is who's receiving this. This is the industry that they're in. This is the revenue that they generate, their current problem that they're having. Your task is to generate one simple subject line that combines both personalized with the biggest pain point. So the rules are to include their name or reference the product and category that they're in. Focus on one of these angles. So learning phase, waste, anonymous. So this is all the stuff relating to my particular offer. And then we give some examples of good subject lines. So contact business, our ads are bleeding 5K a month. CAC jumped 200% this year, whatever, right? So you have different examples that you want to provide to it. You want to tell it what to avoid. And then finally, you're going to also give it some instructions on how many times we've emailed them. So this is where the chat history and the counter comes in. So here's the number of follow-ups that we've sent them so far. Consider how many times they've been contacted and when creating this new subject in the next email. And then only return, so the output is only return the subject line without any explanation or extra additional formatting. Put that in there as well. So what that'll do is it'll give us just the subject line alone, nothing else. Let's see here. It's giving me an issue with saving. Request failed on my save. Did not save my prompt. Let's take a look. Oh, sorry, that's not it. Sit here. Okay, it did save my prompt. Okay. All right. So then the next thing would then be to go into the body, right? So in the body, so again, the reason why we have to do this is the output from each of these GPTs can be held in a custom value, which can be input somewhere else. So we can't output the subject and the body together because when it comes time to put it into the subject, then that means the entire body is also going to be there. Or when we're entering the body, the subject is going to be there as well. It doesn't make any sense. So we want to make sure that we separate the two because they will be used in two different places. So for our body, we're going to run a prompt as that goes as follows. So we're not going to use the one that they have in here. I'm going to give another sample of what works for me. So this is, you're going to come up with the perfect subject for an email for so-and-so, the same stuff that we had opened up with before. We give it some more context about the business and what our offer is. And we consistently are using these custom fields to keep the bot personalized as well as familiar with where this person is in our sequence, etc. And it only returns the body, email body, no explanation, right? Let's see, email body, no explanation. Okay. Let's say email only returns the email body. I don't know why I just deleted that. Sorry, guys. So that's what we want, right? So we save the action there. So now what we can do to keep this super simple, when we're sending the email, all we're doing is we're taking the GPT response from this one here, which would be number one. So let's see why it's named that. Is it one, one, two, and seven? Okay. So I'll look for the generate personalized subject line. That's what we're looking for here. So that will be the response from ChatGPT one. Let's go ahead and take out this three. I don't know why that's in there, but that's incorrect. Again, this is why you want to check and make sure that the AI, if you are having to create the workflow for you, that you are double checking and making sure that it's doing the right thing. Now, the super benefit behind it is a lot of these nodes we didn't have to pick and choose ourselves. All we have to do is just input the information. But of course, we've also had to add nodes that we realized were not placed in the proper place. So having familiarity. So just stick with us when we do these tutorials. Workflow Wednesdays, we're going to consistently put out new builds from basic to really intermediate and super expert workflows, just so we can have a good grasp of how to really manipulate the things that we want to execute when it comes to these automations. So here we go with our subject line is placed in here, and then for the body, we want to put in the response for that. So I'm going to take that out and come over here to my custom values, go to GPT, and then we're going to go for generate customized email body, and we'll hit the response on that, and then we'll save the action. If you wanted to go ahead and include your signature, you can do that as well. Whatever it is that you wanted to do. Now, of course, we're going to test all of this to make sure that it's working properly before we actually deploy it. So don't worry about, how do I know it's going to give me the right thing? We're going to know before we actually put it in and make it live. All right. So now what we're doing, now that we have the email sent out, and again, I'm keep getting this failure. I have to double check and make sure everything is right. Okay, that's in there. Oh, another thing I didn't mention. So you can also track the clicks here. So if there are links involved, and of course inside of your prompt for your GPT body generator, you can say, hey, add this link to book an appointment. Add this link to this video that I'm providing to these people. Always add this link in these emails or in the first or second emails, right? You kind of make it as specific as you need it to. So that means that when somebody's clicking on a link that's present in an email, you can track it and see how many people are clicking. You can also do some UTM tracking if you'd like. And if you want to add additional tags, for instance, inside of our wireframe, we mentioned if somebody opens the email to tag them that they opened up an email. This can be done here as well without having to add an additional node in order to do so. So if somebody reads this email, you can simply go here to add tag, and let's go to conditions, and the type would be the basic campaign interaction. The contact opened up the campaign. So you have all these different options that they bounce, unsubscribe, reply, click, or whatever, right? So then we just add the tag opened, cold email. All right, so basic stuff, simple enough. Um, of course, HighLevel is doing everything that it can to make this as super simple as possible for us, and it's doing a great job in my opinion. So if you are not using HighLevel and you're just watching this tutorial and it's like, hey man, this is pretty cool, I wish I could do this, then I think you should probably check HighLevel out, right? And we also probably have a link below to incentivize you to do so. So here we go with the rest of this. So here we are looking now at a wait. We're looking to see if people are waiting. So we're going to say wait for, looking to see if people are opening. So we're going to wait for an opening an email event. So pick an email to wait for, and that will be, should be the first email that we had present up above. So I'm not sure why it's not pulling up. Okay, so let's get out of here for a second and take a look. So send combined email. That's the action name. I don't think anything is wrong with that. Let's see. No, It's exactly what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to just be send email, which means that this wait node here should pick up that we are, yeah, waiting for an email event. Yep, as such. And the step that we're looking for is the combined email step. Okay, interesting. Let's go ahead and get out of there for one more time. Let's see something. Let's go to try this and email. Let's try this here. Subject line response. So I'm just doubling up on what I'm doing here just to see if there's something that is that's getting in the way of the other node. That, okay. Let's come back here now. Still not showing me. Okay, so here's what I'll do. I will go ahead and I'm going to delete this node, just this particular action there. All right. And I don't know why I keep getting that. Let's name this real quick. Let's use the self, or actually, let's make it fun. Buy or die email sequence, something like that. uh, let's make this say, hey, but not this is like a funny phrase, right? All right, so we've got that. So what I'm gonna do, let's try. If I go back, it's gonna tell me that I don't have saved stuff. All right, oh, okay, so says that I'm saved, but also says that I'm not saved. And I'm not sure what that's all about, guys. So let's see. Okay, now it will allow for me to save for real. There's a problem with this workflow. Wait doesn't reference the step. Okay, yeah, so that it doesn't want me to save because of the fact that it's not referencing the step and it's not doing what it's supposed to be doing there. And let's see, it was this same thing here, reply to the steps and combine email. All right, so that's there, but why isn't it here? That's the problem for me. So let's see, you know what? That's a double wait that might not need to be there. And if this is not an if-then statement, then I think we'll be all right. So let's see here. What happens after the timeout? So wait for and generate the follow-up subject for unopened, generate a follow-up body for an open, and send a follow-up. So that I like that being here, and that's exactly what I would have done here. But then this one here for the contact did respond, and to wait again to see about the response that what did they respond to? That's eh. Because the funny thing about this is that, yeah, what we're looking for here is this reply to email is exactly present. You can see it clearly that there's one here. But it's not here, which is why the save is having a problem right now. So this is the contact reply, yeah, because it can tell that there's an email node. It's looking for the reply here, which is fine. All right, so what I'll do, just to be able to save this and to refresh it, what I'll do is I'll change this wait for a different event. We're going to put in the wait to be, uh, let's see, will that show up here? Oh, funny. Okay, so let's do this for just to be able to save this. Um, there's a problem with the workflow. Wait doesn't reference the step to apply. Is this another wait maybe that I'm not seeing? All right, let's go out. Those two weights I have in there. Okay, let's do that again. All right, back to this weight thing giving me a problem, right? So weights are giving me an issue right now. So weight, contact applied. Okay, that's all I need there. And they don't want me doing the same thing, I guess. for that. Okay, so let's do wait a time delay. Let's do 2 days. Okay. All right. Let's see. Did that change anything? Oh no, it did. It did change. It changed the second branch and how that branch shows up here. It took it out. And I don't want that to happen. I want to keep that branch alive, so I will need something for a timeout there. So let's try. Okay, there we go. That helped. That helped. There we go. All right, so that's what I want. Email event sent combined, and that has been open. And let's go ahead and do that. And hopefully we can save it now. See? It doesn't reference the steps to wait for a reply. Well, I am referencing the step that I'm waiting for the reply in here. It is, okay, do a new one. Okay. Okay, no worries, no worries. All right, let's go through that. Save that now. Let's see if that solved that problem for us. And it did. Okay. All right, so let's get back to it because I ended up getting what I wanted out of this, right? I don't have to go out and come back in. You can close this out for a second. I don't need this anymore. All right, so let's see the wait for open. And we're waiting for this one to be opened, and we're going to give a timeout of 2 days. So what this means is that we're going to wait for it to be opened. If it's not opened within 2 days, then we're going to send this person down this path. If it is opened within 2 days, then we're going to send them down this path. So what we're going to look for now is whether or not they replied. So for those who opened, they're given 4 days to reply. Okay, or anywhere from 2 to 4 days to reply, because maybe they opened it up in the second day before they were sent down the path. Then they have 2 more days to make a response. If they don't, then they will go down this path here, where there'll be a different prompt for them. Let's cancel out of that. So that prompt there. So I'm going to pretty much put the same prompts as I've had in my other ones. So let's go back up here. Let's copy the prompt from here. Because again, you guys get to have a copy of this workflow, and I'll tell you how at the end of the video. So let's go ahead and copy that, and let's bring that down here to GPT-3, guys. Let's do that. And okay, so you're an expert copywriter, generate a compelling and persuasive follow-up email subject line to be sent 2 days after the original email is not open. So if you want, you could keep that in there, and just add, I'll just add the additional stuff that I have in there for the, 'cause again, this is just for the subject line, right? Whoa, whoa, whoa. All right, so it has its instructions there. So let's go ahead and save that. Again, if you wanted to turn on the chat history inside of the workflow, looks at all of the chat stuff that's been happening inside of this workflow as a whole. So we'll go ahead and keep that in there. Let's go ahead and save it. And then let's copy the body from our body. Actually, you know what? Let's do this. Let's do all of our subject line um, prompts first. And let's save that one. So that was number 5. We need to do, okay, so that's this follow up. And this will be, so we'll use the same, what we'll do is we'll use the same, in this case for these emails, we should be using the same subject line. So thanks for your positive response. Or we'll use the regarding whatever the subject line is from that email that they had received, which would be this one here, right? So that'll be that there. So what you would do in this case would be regarding here, such, and you would put in the GPT response for the first response guy. That was this one there. And then that would be what that subject line would be there. So yeah, your response to that would be in there. Then of course, inside of the email, I didn't say anything about this. You would just put in whatever information it is that you want to put in here for that positive response, right? So here's a link to book. Here's the next steps, whatever it is that you want to do. Or if you want to have ChatGPT come in there and do that, then completely fine. So We've got all our subject line generators built out. And then what we need is to have all of our body generators built out now. So let's go ahead and take that prompt there. Let's go down here to our number 4 prompt. I'll keep that information in there as is and then save the additional part that we have. So let's go ahead and save that. Oh, sorry. Let's go ahead and get our chat history involved there as well. And let's do uh, get this here for the chat history for the entire workflow. Cool on that. Then we're going to get the body for this one down here. And let's get that built out as well. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. All right. So we've got that in it. Oh, again, I don't know. Usually don't do this, but of course, and when you're talking about a workflow that never ends, this is going to be something that's going to be a game changer for a lot of you. You no longer have to worry about the email sequences and all the different emails that you need to send out. This is going to be a super game changer for you. So let's go ahead and save that there as well. All right, so we've got all of our stuff lined up and we are all good to go. We have our follow-up sequence here. So let's check and make sure that we are using the right um, chat GPT response. Checking in on my previous email. Okay, that's fine. Or in fact, the subject line for this should be what the GPT created in the output for number 3, which would be that subject line there. And then for the body, the body itself should not be any of that stuff. The body itself should be the GPT response for number 4, which is the follow-up body there. All right, so let's go ahead and get that in there and let's save that. Now, one of the things that we want to also do is we want to, when people are being followed up with and all the other stuff, we want to hit the message counters and make sure that those message counters are actually um, counting how many times people are being targeted or emailed. So being responsible in your marketing and making sure that you're tracking everything is going to be important. So as soon as we send an email to someone, what we're going to do is we're going to hit their history counter. So I'm going to run some math. It's going to be a math operation. And what we're going to work on is inside of the custom field called let's see, I got a custom field in here um, called message history counter. And what that allows for me to do is this is a custom field on the contact. So you create a custom field on your contact level where you are tracking and you fill it in with a 0 when they first come in. And you're adding a 1 to it every time they come through a sequence and they get a message, right? So every time they get a message from you, you want to track. So the reason why you would want to do that is, for instance, you might have someone who takes 10 messages to get in for you to finally get to them. And you may find that 30 or 40% of your people require between 10 to 12 messages. So you already know, hey, I need to send these messages out and get them in front of these people because I know that I'm going to convert a good amount of people once I reach my limit or my threshold and I pass 10 or whatever emails it is. So keeping track of all this is going to be extremely beneficial. So we'll go ahead and keep that in here. And then the field that we're going to update is going to be the exact same one, which will be the message history counter. So we're starting with this field, adding 1 to it, and then updating the 1 to that field again. And let's go ahead and save that. So now, actually, let's rename it. Sorry. Let's add 1 to message. Whoa. My gosh. Okay. All right. So you got that right. Add 1 to message history counter. Boom, 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 boom. All right. Save that. All right. So now we can also take this. Let's copy this. We're going to copy it. Copy the action. Okay. And all I want to do here is I'm going to paste it under every time that I'm going to send out an email. I'm going to paste that I'm adding 1 to the message counter. So I'm going to paste it right here, just like that. I'm also going to paste it right here, just like that. Now it stays in your clipboard until you copy another node or another action. I'm going to paste it right here. And again, don't click on the plus sign. You're going to click on the paste or the clipboard logo or the clipboard icon. You're going to paste it right there. And we're going to take this and we're going to paste this under here as well. So every time someone is sent an email from us, we are going to hit the message counter up. All right. So now what we have is we are now looking at the process of considering, all right, are people, how do we make this a infinite loop? All right. And the way that we do that is we use what we call go-to nodes. So what we're looking to do is anytime someone is sent an email, we are going to consider whether they've opened it or not. That's what's going to help us trigger when to send somebody something or the other. So the last thing that I'm going to do here is going to hit plus on this. So I'm going to hit go to, and I'm going to go to this node. Yep, save that action. Go to, and go to this destination, just like that. All right. So what this means is when somebody receives an email, let's kind of go through. When somebody sees it, gets an email from us, we're waiting to see if they've opened it. If they don't open it, they get another email from us, and that email will be another follow-up according to the message counter history that is present. Again, in the prompt, it talks about here's how many times we've reached out to this person. So they will have a message history every time this GPT sees this. They'll receive another email from this sequence, and it's going to add another message counter to them, and then bring them to see if they opened up again. If they don't open it, it'll bring them through the same sequence again in 2 days, send them a whole another email and go through the same process. So every 2 days, they'll be receiving an email from you until they either open or respond or die or ask you to stop. Okay. So if they do open, then they'll go through this sequence here. If they do open but do not reply, then what we'll do is we'll do a go to. So they do open but they don't reply, they get the email here. What we can do is we can wait for an open, right? Again. So let's go here as to go to. Take that, save that. And then we're going to bring that up to here. Again, waiting for them to open. So they opened the first one, but they did not reply. We're gonna bring them back, send them an email 2 days later, bring them back and ask them to see if they opened up again. If they don't, then it'll bring them back down one place. If they do, it'll bring them back down this place here. So now what we need to do, and I didn't check some of these, but we'll check them to make sure that they're right. But we just want to make sure that we're following along and finishing up what we intended to do here. So the same thing here, when we're getting a positive reply and then waiting to see if they've opened up as well. So it's all back to the same thing, guys. We're just bringing this to here. We're hitting the go to, and I would love it if we could do a go to, but I don't think they make that available to us, right? So we have to bring it all the way back up to workflow. Wait for open, which is up here. So then we tie that one in there. So we've got that. So then the final one would be this one here. And let's do go to. Let's get that one back up to check for open. And of course, you can title these as you see fit so that you know what it's for. All right. And then let's then do this final one here, which is no neutral and no sentiment. We're going to put it on a go to. And send them right back to the wait for open because we didn't get anything from them. Or if you want, you can send them to neutral and no sentiment. You can actually send them through this process right here. I'll actually send them back through this one right here. I would look at generating a positive email response to them, bring them through this, and then see if they've opened it. If they don't, it'll bring them right back to the wait for open sequence. So there you have it, guys. This is a buy or die. So now what we want to do is test it out. So let's go ahead and save. Let's make sure we get it all saved up. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create my contact for myself real quick. Let's go ahead and I think I have myself in here as a contact for sure. So I'll go ahead and test this. So let's do test workflow. And contact is going to be Ace. And let it be that one there. And then let's run the test. So may not in that profile, I may not have a whole lot of information about um, that particular like as far as the business information and all those things that I was talking about. So it may want to just generate something a little bit generic for me, but you're going to take a look and see, what it comes up. So here we are. Sent out the first email. So let's take a look at this first email. It says that it was sent out and it was sent out successfully. So let me go into my email and see if I received it. In fact, what I can do is I can just go to conversations and GHL and take a look at what it sent out on my behalf to me. So 1 second, let me pull that up on another screen while we're going through that process. Let's go here to all age truck life. All right, cool. Okay. So I have this email here. I'm going to bring it over so you guys can see. Let's see here. I'm trying to do this so I don't show all my other conversations that I had right now. All right, so here we are. So it sent me an email with this subject line. It says unlock hidden data for business boost. So it doesn't have a lot of business information about me, so it wasn't able to complete this all the way out. For me. But nonetheless, the sequence and everything, it went ahead and dripped me is during a certain time of day that it can send out an email for to me and everything else, and it went ahead and did all of that good stuff. So if you are interested in getting this built out for yourself, just click the link below. We have GHL Classroom where you'll be able to find where we do builds, workflows, where we discuss just general projects inside of GoHighLevel, how to automate certain flows. The additional video I'm going to do for this is how I can feed this workflow with an n8n automation that allows me to just drop people's contact information on a Google Sheet. As I'm finding them along, I can just be on my phone, drop some information about these people on a Google Sheet, and then every 5 minutes or 10 minutes, this scraper will come in, scrape out the new information, create a contact, and add a tag to them, bringing them through this process here, bringing them through this workflow. So that's going to be in a part 3 of this video. So this was part 2 here. So again, you can click on the link below, GHL Classroom. We have a free community where we go over a lot of this information. Also, you can find us live on YouTube as well, Workflow Wednesdays, every Wednesday. Haven't really selected a time yet, but just follow the my channel, Ace Swinger, as well as the JHL Classroom channel, where we will be going over all things GoHighLevel. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all on the next one.
All right, so here we are on part 3 of our buy or die email sequence workflow. So just to remind you of what we've done so far is in the first video, we built out our wireframe. We just kind of think through what it is that we want to have done and, all of the different processes and nodes that we would need inside of our workflow. And then once we had that taken care of, the next thing that we did was we went ahead and actually built that workflow out inside of GoHighLevel. So this is what we have built inside of GoHighLevel. Now, we use the GoHighLevel or the high level AI workflow AI to give us the frame of what it is that we were going to build out, and then individually went into each node and had it set up appropriately for our use case. So the last part that we want to do is we want to now in superpower this with an n8n workflow, and we're going to use Google Spreadsheets where we are going to keep track of new lines being added to Google to the spreadsheet, and it's going to create contacts in GHL and also start the workflow once that tag is has been triggered. So all we need to do now is we need to have a spreadsheet set up. So this is the spreadsheet. This is going to be our Facebook ads scraping spreadsheet. We're going to be scraping for the page name, the email address, the phone number, the ad library URL, just as many pieces of information as we can uncover about that particular prospect. With this information, we're then going to take it into n8n, and this simple workflow is going to be those 3 steps that we had just mentioned. So what you all you really need to do is really simple, straight to the point. First thing is add a Google Sheets trigger. So if you come over here to add, you can add, just type in Sheets. You'll see Google Sheets. And then from here, you can decide on what action it is that you're trying to accomplish. In this case, we're looking for the rows in the sheet. So we're looking for get rows in sheet. Okay, so we're getting rows that are being added to the sheet. And once you have that node added, this is what it'll look like. You will go in and get your Google credentials. So we have other videos in our series for our n8n series showing you how to get your Google connected. It's fairly straightforward to do so, but again, check out the other videos that we have on that. Once you have your Google account set up, we're setting this to read every 15 minutes. Every hour, every hour on the 15th minute. So every hour, so 2:15, 12:15, whatever the case is. We're pulling from this sheet and from sheet 1, and we're triggering on the row added or updated. So if I add a row or I update a row, it's going to read all the rows real quick and find out if an update's been made. It'll pull that information in. If I've added one, it'll pull that information in. So here's a sample of the information that is pulled in. I've went ahead and did fetch a test event. So let's go ahead and fetch. So I need to redo my authorization. So let me come here and get to my credential. And let's reconnect. Okay, and let's continue there. And of course, select all and continue, and I should be good from here on out. All right, so now let's fetch a test event from that sheet. It's going to read. It looked at the very first line, just pulled it in for me, just to go back and check. So McClellan Powers, that's the first line right here. That's these individuals here. And then once it pulls that sheet, then the next thing is I'm going to pin this information so it can be used here. And then from there, we are going to upsert this contact information into GoHighLevel. So what you need to know is what information do you have coming in? And we're running an HTTP request. It's the most simple, basic, easiest way to get access to GoHighLevel, simply through a private integration key. And there's a video showing you how to do that. In fact, all you really need is just the authorization, your private key, and the URL for what it is that you're trying to accomplish. So for HighLevel, there is the website that you want to go to is HighLevel API documentation. We'll just try that. Let's see if it gets us to where we need to be. Not in marketplace, not in developers. My gosh, well, I'm at a blank right now, and I can't think of it. Is it? I know I have it in my history as well, but it's okay. All right, let's go. Let's go here. Let's go to documentation. There we go. Okay. So it's pretty much here. The URL for this marketplace is the URL for now, but cool. But and this is how we will get to it. But it's ultimately pretty much the same thing as what I'm looking for. So what you're looking for is your OAuth 2 authorizations. Actually, no, what you're looking for is exactly where we are, your HighLevel API 2.0. If you wanted to get your access code and all that other stuff, you can. But what we're really looking for is what we just did with the upsert, right? So we're in contacts, we go to contacts, and then you look for upsert contact. So then in upsert contact, you're giving all of the details that you would need in order to successfully be able to upsert a contact. So what you see here is you have upsert contact, your post. The post is what you're going to be doing. So again, post is the method. Let me bring this all the way over here. Post is the method. This is the URL that you're going to put in there for your post, as you see there. And then the next thing that they're going to have you do is put in all of the basic information, right? So here are your requirements that you need to have on your private integration. You need the contacts right requirement, and that you have OAuth access token or private integration token. So the private integration token is what you had created a little while ago, and also you need your sub account token, which is your sub account ID. So this is what it looks like as far as what you need and what's required inside of your header parameters. In this case, you're seeing here that we have the version here, which is 2021 7/28, so July 28th of 2021. It's also required that you have your location ID, as we have there. And once you have this information, you're pretty much good to go. But here's another thing that you would need to do, right? So you have your base URL, well, in this case, your post URL. Then for your authentication, your bearer token. So it's gonna be bearer and then your token, and the authentication is just authentication when it comes to what you put inside of here. So you have your headers. You're going to send a header, and you're going to use the fields below. You're going to type in the name authorization. You're going to type in bearer, and then you're going to put in the private integration code that is inside of this inside of your private integration. Also, next you need another header parameter, which is the version and the value, as you can see here, your version and the value that goes in there as well. All right. So once you have that inside of your once you have that inside of there, the next thing that you need to do is send a body, and that body is going to be what you are given here. So let's go over to the body that we're looking for is the JSON. Actually, you know what? The curl is similar, but it's not the whole thing actually. Let's see here. Let's see here. You know what? I think that's what we have. Sorry. All right. Yeah. So this is the JSON that you're going to use to pass information into this webhook post, or excuse me, this HTTP request. So what we're passing is the first name, which is coming from the Google Sheets trigger. We're passing the page name, the email address. If there is a last name, it'll be here, but we don't have that on that particular form. Here's the location ID that we're running it to. Here's the phone number that we're actually, going to be pulling in, the company name that we're pulling in. So all the information that we're getting from here is what is present here. Now, how did I get this particular code? This code comes from, this is the body that's required, right? So you need at least this stuff right here. The other things that you want to look at, status, message, code, whatever, SMS, status, blah, blah, blah. You can look at that stuff if you're trying to get an update, right, from that contact. But if you're pushing stuff to the contact, this is ultimately what we need. This is all I really needed on mine. It was just first name, last name, email, and anything else that I wanted to add in there as far as the additional piece of information you add in there, put in your closed bracket, and you should be good to go. So it's pretty much the same thing. You have open bracket, first name, comma, first name, and then in quotations you have the value or the string, and then you have your title, colon. Like it's all the same alphabet, right? So once you have all of that in there, that step, so it can push that information through processable entity. All right, it's giving me that cannot be processed by the service. Okay, Well, I'll dig into that in a few. But then finally, after we push that information over, we have pretty much another HTTP request. Ultimately, it's the same thing. We're posting, but instead we're taking the contact ID. Now that we have a contact ID, this is going to be the URL. And again, we get that from here, where we're looking at tags. If I want to tag somebody, it has a tag right there. If I want to add a tag, it tells me to do a post. You want to add the contact ID in here. So you see contact ID, you have to actually add that. And then you have tags at the back end. Again, same thing. You would run your authorization, bearer token, run your bearer token, and simply put in the tag that you want and what it's for, right? So that's ultimately what this is. You can see here's the tag, add library scraped, and then running meta ads. That's the tags that I gave to these individuals. Now, if I wanted to run another tag such as cold email outreach, all right, I'll just put a parentheses, excuse me, a quotation on that. And now this will be a tag that will be added to individuals' information once that is all sent over. So let's go ahead and find out what's going on here while I'm not able to send this information over. I have all of my stuff in here. I have my upsert in there. That's all good to go. I have my version. JSON is pumping out. So cool. I'm not sure why it won't give me the upsert on that contact and why it's only stuck on this one here, because that's not the one that I'm actually currently working on. So what I would then do in that case would be to all right, somewhere around there. Let's see. Okay. So I was able to push some information through. So you can see here, this was pushed through. And so this speaks should have an already existing I should have an already existing contact in here for that speaks, right? So let's go in here and find speaks. Let's find speaks. Yeah, because that for whatever reason that issue that it was having wasn't even an issue that was dealing with the line that I was trying to even send it through, which is interesting. So let's go ahead and get speaks. And okay, so I see speaks is tagged currently with opened cold email running, and now also has opened caller ID email, open call. Okay, so let me just show what's on his list. All right, so this is Speaks. You can see I've sent Speaks tons of emails so far. He's opened up my caller ID. He's opened up my cold email. He's running meta ads. He's scraping meta ads. So the last thing that we want to do is one of the last things that I added to this workflow was then pushing through for that person to be tagged with a new tag. So the new tag that I put in there was cold email outreach, which wasn't present on Speaks at the time. So as we will see in just a second, when I refresh this, we should then see Speaks. Let's hit the refresh on this here. Right there. And now we should be able to see that new tag added. And if the workflow was active, that tag being added to that account would then trigger him being put into the workflow, and then he's in the buy or die sequence. And now it's either you tell us to stop, or you die, or you buy. All right, so let's now take a look and see if we've been tagged appropriately. Wait for that to load in. Okay, so you can see here the additional tag has been added. Cold email outreach. The new tag has been added, right? So this is how we are building flows that are allowing for us to automate a lot of these processes now. Is this available inside of GHL? Let's take a look. Let's take a look. So if we go back to our automations, because somebody may be asking, well, why would I use n8n if GHL does all these automations, right? There are certain connections that GHL doesn't necessarily have yet that n8n does have, or make.com has, or whatever the case is. However, let's go in and let's take a look. This is the buy or die sequence that we created. And what we want to do is we could find out if, let's see if we could trigger a Google Sheet update and then trigger that to create the contact, trigger that to then start the process, right? So here's what we'll do. Let's go into this trigger here. Again, if we're building our flows, we're pretty much running the same type of thing. So let's put in Google Sheet. You don't see anything there, right? Let's put in Google as a trigger, right? New contact, new group. There's really nothing that you can do there. So we would need certain other third parties, platforms, and softwares to help us accomplish our goals. But as you can see, that process, even though it was pulling errors from a wrong place, we went ahead and solved that. So now we're bypassing the error because it was just giving us some issues. And successful items go there, error items don't go anywhere. And that's pretty much how we're going to execute on this. So make sure that you turn on your how you deal with errors in this case. But yeah, we were able to get all this information over, which is, you can see here, this is the last one that was added. This is based on the information that we now have. This is what we had for that person, and now the new data, which is what will be shown here. We can see here that we now added the new tag. And so tag added, email outreach, and these other tags were pretty much already there. So this thing works. It works flawlessly. It's something that I think would be extremely useful. So as you're just going through your process and you're scraping stuff and you're just adding stuff in there, you don't have to go in and individually add all the different pieces to a contact sheet inside of the GHL. Just have it done this way. You just put the information on, stay on this Google Sheet, do it this way, and have the information sent over. So that completes our buy or die email sequence. If this is something that was valuable to you, if you're watching this here on YouTube, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, turn on the notifications so you know when we're going live. We'll be going live Wednesdays for Workflow Wednesdays. There's some other days that we're going to go live as well, but we're in the planning stages of all of that. So I hope that this was helpful and useful. I look forward, again, this workflow, the n8n workflow, our high level workflow is all made available inside of our free community. So you can join by going to ghlclassroom.com. We also have a premium community where we answer questions, we do Q&As, we go over your particular use cases and your particular scenarios, and we help you build those out live on our weekly sessions. So that is in our GHL Classroom paid community. You have the option of joining either or both. So looking forward to seeing you guys on the next video.